the 49ers win a Super Bowl without him?
I don't even know if they can win one with him.
Interesting.
They definitely cannot win without. Well, they can't win without him if he's just at home and they get nothing in return. If they did move off of him and got 2 or 3 guys, and because they still think, I mean, it's a really impressive football team. I would say the Niner roster has got to be top 5 in the NFL, top 6, something like that.
Yeah, I don't. That's not a stretch at all. That's not a stretch at all, and I think that's why this is really disappointing to 49er fans, is because they've been thinking Super Bowl since the loss to Philadelphia last year, and this takes a big chunk of the optimism away. Larry, I'm a kind of a believer, not karma, but I do believe sometimes there are signs that when you look back on them, you see that they may have been a factor. Last year I thought the Warriors just got off to a terrible start. Draymond Green talking about a contract extension before training camp. Myers went in as a lame duck. The punch, obviously.
All the dialogue about the 2 different timelines.
Exactly.
The pressers where guys sounded like, well, we are doing well, but those guys aren't doing. Right. I mean, that was a bad indication right there.
Absolutely. I guess my question is, how you feeling about the way the 49ers season's gotten off the ground with the trade of Trey Lance, and now Bosa's still not there? You say Kittle missed practice yesterday. He's questionable for the first game of the year. Like, it's not anything yet, but I'm monitoring it.
Well, it's a great question, Steiny, because here's the thing. There is the tone of the dialogue around the team sucks. I mean, it's like fire Shanahan, fire Lynch, all this discontent. They blew it with Trey. I read something on Niners Nation, 37% of all Niner fans feel like they got hosed in the Lance trade. And so there's the dialogue around the team, but how much of that is created by guys like myself on radio, YouTube, wherever, the content creator game, which is kind of inherently negative, as opposed to what's going on there? Because like when I go in the locker room and I talk to the players and I'm around the team, I don't get any of that negative vibe. So it's like, it's almost like 2 alternate realities at one time.
Well, I actually think that it's the silent majority. There's the silent majority when it comes to 49er fans. And who are those people? Those are the people that are very excited for the season, and they're optimistic, and they're revved up after the way they lost to Philadelphia. They think they got as much talent as anybody. They think they've got a quarterback who's just going to get better, and he might become the franchise quarterback. Like, to me, there should be optimism around the team. The Bosa thing, yeah, I get it. You got to get him in here. But I've been surprised at the negativity toward Shanahan. Though I know he's not perfect. They made the NFC Championship game 3 out of the last 4 years. I mean, I don't appreciate when fans take that kind of thing lightly. 3 out of 4 NFC Championship games. I mean, who else has done it?
I know. I mean, in a weird way, I got a buddy who runs a donut shop out in Walnut Creek. Every time I see him, he's like, man, he's got Warriors, everything. And then I'll walk in there and he'd be like, Krug, man, they just got to get rid of Kerr, man. They just got to get rid of Kerr.
That's
and
true.
I'm thinking to myself, Kerr's won 4 freaking titles. They've gone to the finals how many times? 6?
Yeah.
So they've got 4 titles. He's won like almost 80% of his playoff games. They've won like 60% of the regular season games. And I look at that and I'm like, dude, where were you when Bobby Sura was running around in an orange jersey? Where were you when Chris Porter was our hope, or Larry Hughes was our hope? Porter. I mean, it's like, come on. I just kind of think that maybe we hear the negative more than the positive. I think the rank and file fans probably more positive, but there's question marks, man. I mean, the backup O-line, I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about the backup O-line and the D-line depth. Even if they had Bosa, I don't know how that's going to look, to be totally honest.
This 707, the tone around the team is parroting the talk show hosts. Yeah, and I guess this is where it's got to be the Super Bowl. It's got to be the Super Bowl. But I mean, I look at this year and they're going to be one of the best teams in the NFC. You got to let it play out. Here's the thing that I was talking about with a buddy of mine. It's this. If you're a Super Bowl or bust person, then how do you really enjoy the regular season? I mean, seriously, they go 12-5, and maybe they're the second best record in the NFC. What? The fans then are like, okay, now I'll watch because it's the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like, part of the joy of football is seeing whether the 49ers are as good as we think they are. And if they are, it's going to be a hell of a year.
Yeah. I mean, we got into this with Brock Purdy. It's like there are people that are like, yeah, Brock Purdy's good, but he can't win the big one. They went to the NFC Championship game in his rookie year. And he didn't necessarily lose that game as much as he got knocked out of that game. So who knows how that game would even ended. It's like, really? We're there? So now if Brock Purdy as a second-year quarterback coming off a major injury doesn't win the Super Bowl this year, now it's like he ain't the guy, and it's not. And I think our standards for Shanahan, I mean, do we remember what they were in the couple years pre-Shanahan? Weren't they like 7-25 or something like that under Tom Sula and Chip Kelly? Yeah. I understand high standards, and everybody's got a realistic standard. You know, that year the Warriors had KD, it was like they got to win the title. They got to win the title, and the regular season didn't really matter. But, man, when you get to the point where you're getting super critical of wins, and it's like, we won by 20. Yeah, but you should have won by 30. You won by 14. Yeah, but you should have won by 21. When you get to that point, it's like it becomes kind of a joyless endeavor.
Exactly. Scott's in Pennsylvania. Wants to talk about Nick Bosa. What's up, Scott? How you doing, man?
Hey, guys. How are we doing? Hey, hey, Larry, big fan of your YouTube channel.
Thanks, bro.
Really love all your training camp reports and stuff. You're really thorough, so definitely appreciate all that. Just want to talk about the Nick Bosa situation. You know, we made that Trey Lance trade in 2021 with the idea of building a team around a rookie contract. I just say stick to the plan. Build that team around Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa is the best, not just the best player at his position, but the best player on defense, period. I did hear Larry saying about, we could get a lot of trade capital. We could get a lot of different prospects from the Jets and stuff. The only problem is that Nick Bosa is a Hall of Fame player, and you just don't hit. You don't find those hits. So for me personally, I say pay Bosa, and we'll figure out the rest with the other contracts if we have to restructure. Prague, he's very capable of getting things done. But when it comes to getting this signed before week 1, I think it's extremely important. We took a loss to the Chicago Bears last year in a monsoon, and at the end in the playoffs, the NFC Championship would have went through Santa Clara, and we went to Philly. And obviously Brock Purdy got hurt and whatnot, but in a league that essentially with the NFC, it's down to the Eagles and 49ers to contend for the Super Bowl. Every week matters. And so I say, let's take advantage of the contract situation we currently have, get Nick Bosa signed, get him in the building, and he's the leader of our team.
All right. Appreciate the call, Scott.
You know what? He said something that jogged a thought. Is it possible that the Niners structure is Prague is the cap guy. He reports to Jed. Lynch is the general manager, and he reports to Jed. Kyle's the head coach, and he reports to Jed. And we like to think that they're working together, and they're probably working together a lot better than Trent Baalke and Jim Harbaugh ever did. But is it possible that these guys are all working in a vacuum? That Kyle's all about, the regular season record, and that's why he's all about, Brock Purdy over developing Trey Lance. And John Lynch is all about what I get in trades, and that's why he's going to trade him to Dallas, even because he got a 4th-round pick because he needed to win the trade.
Right.
And that maybe Parag is so intent on winning this negotiation, that because that's his corner of the Niner world, that is taking priority, and that at the end of the day, maybe the best negotiators win most of them, but not all of them. You know, see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't believe the 49ers were going to trade Jimmy Garoppolo. Or what I believe is they were asking an exorbitant price for Jimmy Garoppolo during the previous offseason. And nobody was going to give him that. So did they try to move Garoppolo? Yeah, they tried to move him for 2 seconds. Well, nobody was going to give him 2 seconds.
They had to win the deal.
Exactly.
Because that's John's job, is to win the deal.
Exactly. And, that may come at a price. My question to 49er fans, I just mentioned the silent majority. I still think there's a silent majority out there of 49er fans that are very positive about this season, that are looking forward to it, that think this team's going to be pretty good, and they hope a Super Bowl appearance is there. But they do seem to get drowned out a little bit by the fans that just doubt that they can get it done for whatever reason. And you're right. They're the victims of their own success, because they've set a standard here where a lot of people aren't going to be happy unless they win the Super Bowl. And
negative
just
sells.
Really hard.
Yeah, it's really hard to climb the top of the mountain. That's why they have these, multi-million-dollar parades that cost all this money in the midst of trying economic times, because it's rare. But there is a tone that maybe the positive person gets drowned out by the negative, because negative really sells. Like if you say, hey, you put up a headline, hey, you know what, Nick Bosa is, going to he's going to sign and he's going to have a great year. And then right next to it on some web page, there's Bosa's, not going to sign and Lynch needs to go.
Right.
Which story are you more likely to click on first? And it's probably the Lynch needs to go, Bosa's not going to sign, the negativity, right? Over the Bosa's going to sign, he's going to have a monster year, and he's going to lead the Niners to the Super Bowl. So I think it's just, maybe that's human nature. I don't know. Or maybe it's just the sign of media in 2023. I mean, I don't know.
No, I don't know either. 925, when was Trey traded? That's when I lost faith in the 49ers organization. That's Jeff N on the YouTube chat.